Chalo. Greetings for the day, dear children. Here we begin with our next chapter, No Place for Us. Now, No Place for Us, On the Move Again, Who's Forest. All these three topics are somewhere interrelated and correlated with one another. Here there is a person, Jatria Bai. Jatria Bai is a lot in the times of reminiscing. Reminiscing about what? Reminiscing that how their life was so good when they used to live in village. Now see, first I'll tell you, as there's a lot of moving here and there, so I'll tell you what the story is about. Jatria Bai was a person who used to live in his village, but all of a sudden some government officials came and they decided to develop the village by constructing dams. As dams were being constructed, it was obvious that the people, the villagers had to move, they had to relocate. So they were being given a place, in Sinduri village. But little did they know that Sinduri village, the quality and the resources that they had in their previous village, Sinduri village, turned out to be a disappointment for them. However, these people who were being relocated were also criticized and were referred as outsiders in this Sinduri village. So from here, they decided now what to do and where to go. So they finally sold whatever they had from Sinduri village and they decided to stay in Mumbai. So here in Mumbai, they were living in almost a shack-like thing, which we can barely call as a house. Jatria Bai's children used to study in a very small school. However, these people had to do 2 to 3 small jobs in order to make their ends meet, in order to put food on the table. However, things were quite difficult. And this chapter ends in a concept that someone, Jatria Bai's relative says, what if you are being thrown away from Mumbai as well? What would you do then? So it is better you do not do any maintenance work in this little old shack of yours. Shack is a, type of place. It is barely a house. It's just a small thing with several things. They just fit it down and they live over there. So Jatria Bai is reminiscing. So this was the basic outcome of the story. विलेज से सिंदूरी विलेज से मुंबई, और मुंबई में वो कंक्लूड ऐसा होता है कि समान रिलेटिव से कि अगर आपको यहाँ से भी निकाल दिया या आपको बाहर जाने बोल दिया या कहीं और जाने बोल दिया तो आप क्या करोगे, व्हाट विल यू डू. So of course it is a story of struggle. It is a story of someone who has no as such property or money or education of his own. However, they received some education in village. So how that education was, what was it, what was the skills that they had, which is helping them, to earn their living in Mumbai, barely earning their living in Mumbai. So let us study about that. So now we will start with the main character Jatria Bai. Jatria Bai was sitting with his daughter Jhimli and they were waiting for Sidhya. It was almost night but Sidhya hadn't reached home. अब बता रहे हैं कि 2 years पहले जात्रिया's फैमिली मुंबई में आई. उनका एक डिस्टेंट यानी दूर का एक रिश्तेदार था, उन्होंने यहाँ पे मुंबई में बुलाया और क्या किया, फिशिंग नेट्स के थ्रू उनको रिपेयर करने का काम मिला. बट जितना पैसा उनको मिलता था वो इनफ नहीं था, मतलब उससे उनका बहुत मुश्किल से गुजारा हो रहा था. उनको मेडिसिन के लिए रेंट, स्कूल का फीस, खाना पीना सबका बहुत प्रॉब्लम था. उनको पानी तक खरीदना पड़ रहा था. सो सीधिया जो दूसरा बच्चा है उससे डिसाइड किया कि वो एक छोटा सा पार्ट टाइम जॉब शुरू करेंगे. सो हावेवर सीधिया एक छोटे से फिश फैक्ट्री में जॉब करने स्टार्ट किया. थोड़ा सा पैसा मिला और टाइमिंग क्या था, फ्रॉम 4 o'clock till 7 o'clock in the morning. Then they would come home and then they used to take a nap and then they go to school in the afternoon. primary school, so it was of course an afternoon. However, though child labor is not allowed, but there are, unfortunately some children who have no other choice because they have no food or money for their family. Then from 4 till 7 he cleaned and sorted all the small and big fish. फिर वो घर आता था, थोड़ा आराम करता था, फिर स्कूल में जाता था. शाम को वो मार्केट में इधर उधर देखता था और एक लेडी को बैग्स कैरी करने में हेल्प करता था. Then he used to go to railway station to pick up empty bottles and newspapers to sell to the junk seller. Junk seller you have already studied last year in maths. So you know कि वो bottles वगैरह sell करके पैसा मिलता है. Of course very less though. Somehow they were managing. जैसे तैसे उनका गुजारा हो रहा था. Then रात हो गई. अब रात होते होते भी सिद्धिया वापस नहीं आया. झिमली टीवी पर डांस देख रही थी, बट झिमली के घर का टीवी नहीं था. बाजू वाले का नेबर का खिड़की से शी वॉज पीपिंग एंड लुकिंग. जात्रिया who's a very not so young man, he was not interested in anything. He used to reminisce, he used to go nostalgic about his times of about his childhood days and how he spent his youth over there. शाम को उसे बहुत ज़्यादा नॉस्टैल्जिया होने लगता था, डिप्रेशन होने लगता था कि ये क्या हो रहा है. सो ही यूज्ड टू फील अलोन. क्राउड में भी उसको अकेला अकेला फील होता था. सो हैव यू एवर फेल्ट लाइक दैट? Why did he feel so? Because he was missing his old days. He used to go back, he wanted to go back to his previous time in his village. Then ऐसा कैसे लगता है when you have to leave your own place? Imagine going to a new school, leaving your friends. It is very uncomfortable at first, right? What do you think families like Jatri are coming to big cities? See, in there where they are living in their villages, maybe not all villages are that prosperous. So, of course, they have no other option but to go somewhere else and to start a new life. Have you ever seen any children who also go to work? So, here it is very rare. We don't find anything like that in our city. What kind of work do they do? So, why do they have to work? They have to work because they have no money. Their parents are barely making a living, and what kind of work they do? So of course very harmless work, like little work they do. But although yes, it is not allowed as per government, it's not allowed. So now Jatriya was remembering his old days. So now, like I told, he was born and brought up in a village. The name of that village is Khedi village. खेदी में डैम्स बनने लगे तो फिर उनको शिफ्ट होना पड़ा सिंदूरी में. सिंदूरी में लैंड वगैरह गवर्नमेंट ने ही उनको दिया, बट वो लैंड में उतना फर्टिलिटी नहीं था. द लैंड वाज क्वाइट इनफर्टाइल. हाउएवर Jatriya, when he was born in Khedi village, it was amongst jungles and hills. People lived there even before grandfather was born. Recently, we have studied a new law of forest. I hope you know about what that law is. However, Jatriya's village में peace था but silence नहीं. अब peace और silence का फर्क I'll tell you. Peace यानी शांति, silence यानी आवाज होना. Whereas if I see if there is no peace यानी violence हो रहा है, झगड़े हो रहे हैं. Peace यानी शांति. But silence is like where people are not, silence is where people are not, keeping quiet. They are talking about something. जैसे कभी trees का आवाज आ रहा है, the wind, gushing of the wind is there, animals are, making sounds. So ये आवाज, this आवाज was very much, dominant in Khedi village. However, हमको हमारे घर के बाहर सिर्फ पार्किंग का, honking का और ये सब साउंड सुनने को मिलता है. However, they would go to the nearby forest, they used to chat and they used to sing together. ये लोग wild fruits, roots would collect करते थे और फिर they used to enjoy going to work. They never missed the life of technology. They enjoyed the old traditional life. Then they used to make play flute and dhol, and they used to make pots of clay, and they used to recognize birds और वो birds का sound imitate करते थे. People used to collect things from the forest. फिर वो थोड़ा सा उसको towns में sell करते थे. कुछ लोग सॉल्ट, ऑयल, राइस और सम क्लॉथ्स भी बाय करते थे. ये भले गांव था, बट दिस विलेज वाज लाइक अ ह्यूज फैमिली. Jatriya sisters was married in the same village. People used to help one another. Elders quarrels कम करते थे और शादीज अरेंज करते थे. Jatriya was a strong man now. उसने फील्ड्स में काम किया, फिशेस पकड़े हैं, एंड देन वो लोग फॉरेस्ट में जाते थे, फ्रूट्स रूट्स कलेक्ट करते थे. एज आई हैड ऑलरेडी डिस्कस्ड इन प्रीवियस वीडियोस दैट रूट्स आर यूज्ड फॉर मेडिसिन्स. Fish from the river and all these things they used to sell in the town. जात्रिया डांस करता था फेस्टिवल्स में, ड्रम्स ये लोग प्ले करते थे. बॉयज एंड गर्ल्स यूज्ड टू एंजॉय अ लॉट. मतलब देयर वाज नो एज सच थिंग लाइक कि हमको ये चाहिए, टेक्नोलॉजी चाहिए, फोन चाहिए, कुछ नहीं. दे यूज्ड टू एंजॉय देयर सिंपल लाइफ. ऑल्सो दे यूज्ड टू लर्न लॉट ऑफ स्किल्स. खेदी विलेज में क्या हुआ, बच्चों ने क्या क्या सीखा. बच्चों ने बहुत कुछ सीखा. बच्चों ने इमिटेटिंग सीखा, डांसिंग, सिंगिंग, प्लेइंग फेस्टिवल्स, कलेक्टिंग प्लांट्स, फ्रूट्स, मेकिंग क्ले पॉट्स फ्रॉम क्ले एंड रिकग्नाइजिंग द बर्ड्स. व्हाट डू यू लर्न फ्रॉम योर एल्डर्स दैट यू ऑल विल राइट. जात्रिया ने खेदी में बहुत कुछ सीखा, बट उसमें से उसको कौन सा काम मुंबई में काम आएगा. दैट इज ऑफ कोर्स फिशिंग, playing dhol, selling the goods, because see, selling is also an art. How can you sell and how well can you sell? That is also an art. That is a skill actually. Do you hear the sound of birds every day? So यहाँ पे तो हमको crow, pigeon और sparrow दिखते हैं. We also discussed that in someone's house there are if you all live in a place where there are a lot of trees, so there you could find parrots, you can find woodpeckers as well. You can find a lot of different variety of birds. Although now, because due to the scorching heat and due to excess migration and pollution, also because of radiation, we can find that birds ka count is reducing quite a lot. However, what are the some sounds you hear every day but people of Khedi may not be hearing? So of course there's traffic, there's ambulance, there's vehicle and police ka sound. Of course there are sound or noise of people fighting and arguing. There are sound of the social media reels and videos and TV technology and so many different things. Have you experienced silence? Yes, we experienced silence in the library, one of my favorite place. Now across the river. Across the river में one day people of Khedi heard that a huge dam was to be built. अब डैम बनाने जा रहे थे. सो खेदी और नियर बाय विलेजेस को बोला जाओ यहाँ से. अब यहाँ से उनको बोला जाओ. तो गवर्नमेंट ने बोला हम आपको बहुत अच्छा दूसरा गांव देंगे, हम आपको लैंड देंगे, हम आपको बहुत सारी चीजें देंगे. बट जब ये गवर्नमेंट ऑफिशियल्स आए, देन व्हाट हैपेंड, police also accompanied them. So some children were happy to see the police, where some people used to cry at looking at the police. So officials ने सब पूरा प्रोसीजर चेक किया, विलेज के एल्डर से बात किया एंड बोला कि ये विलेजेस को रिलोकेट होना पड़ेगा. खेदी का जो लैंड है वो गवर्नमेंट विल टेक ओवर. However, उन्होंने बोला था कि we will give you a very nice land जहाँ पे स्कूल होगा, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी होगा, हॉस्पिटल होंगे, एंड दिस जो देने वाले हैं गवर्नमेंट, दैट इज सिंदूरी विलेज. नाउ व्हाट वाज द प्रॉब्लम अबाउट सिंदूरी विलेज. सिंदूरी विलेज में उसको ऐसा एक फॉल्स प्रोमिसेस में ये आ गए कि आप लोग को सारे फैसिलिटीज मिलेंगे. सो जात्रा बाई थॉट कि व्हेन आई विल गेट मैरिड आई विल ऑल्सो टेक माई वाइफ टू द न्यू हाउस, जहाँ पे सिर्फ हमने स्विच प्रेस किया, ऑन किया तो हमको फैन मिलेगा, लाइट मिलेगा, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी मिलेगा. हम बस में से बैठ के पूरा शहर का नज़ारा देखेंगे. एंड व्हेन आई विल हैव चिल्ड्रेन आई विल सेंड देम टू गुड स्कूल. मेरे जैसे नहीं होंगे मेरे बच्चे, बहुत ज़्यादा आगे मैं उनको बढ़ाऊंगा. हावेवर जात्रिया बाई का ड्रीम्स ड्रीम्स ही रह गया. बहुत सारे लोगों को लगा कि उनको ना बहुत सारे फैसिलिटीज मिलेंगे. But then what happened? बहुत सारे जात्रिया भाई के विलेजेस को नहीं अच्छा लग रहा था मूव होने के लिए. Why? Because they had their forefathers का memory, उनका inheritance. They didn't wanted to give it up, to them. Of course, when we are going to a new place, what happens is we have to adjust a lot. We have to meet with those people. We have to see how they are, what if they are good, what if they are bad,